When you hear a question about your favorite soccer team, you will not think about it as an attack, even though it might be your secret question for the password reset process.
Daniel.
Hi, it's good to be here.
The reason I invited you on this show is because you are a security expert, and I think. Sorry?
I would like to think of myself as such.
Yeah, and I think that. But usually this program is for developers, but today we would like to talk to users about security, because I think it's very important for users to be aware of the risks on the internet.
Absolutely.
So first of all, I would like to ask you why it is important for the users to think about security themselves.
Okay, so let's start with the digital age. So when the digital age started, you suddenly had so much data that you can give away to companies, to other people, that it actually became valuable. So when you were living in not a cave, but in a town, a small town, everybody knew everything about the other person. But suddenly there was this huge explosion where you can give your data to anyone in China or Russia or the United States or Europe or whatever. And suddenly this data, your data, became valuable to companies, to criminals, to whoever can harvest anything from it. And ultimately, you are the one in control of this data. So your data won't just appear somewhere by itself. Chances are you gave it to a company which you trusted, and you thought that that company will watch over that data. And usually the company does a pretty good job at that. But accidents happen. See, everybody is careful when they are driving a car, but still car accidents happen every day. So breaches happen every day, and sometimes companies lose your data. And when they lose your data, whoever gets their hands on that data can probably use it to impersonate you. Classical example would be asking for loans using your social security number. This is pretty common in the United States. Actually, it's so common that you have a whole industry protecting against loans taken by someone who impersonated you.
What should a user, check before registering on a service? How can I decide if I should trust a certain website or not?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's actually really hard to answer, because if you think about it, when you go to a site, you go there with a purpose. You want to achieve something. And unless you have a clear alternative that you can turn to, then you don't really have a choice. See, nobody is giving you a choice. The fields are not optional. You have to give them your name. It's required. You can of course use a fake name, but that is actually the violation of their terms of service. So
especially in the case of Facebook, right? Because many of the older social websites allowed you to use fake names, but one of the biggest innovations of Facebook was that they didn't allow that, and they say don't, and there are some controversy around that as well. But when you register to Facebook, you normally would have to give your real name.
Exactly, and the thing is that trusting a company is really hard because you do not have the information to base that trust on. They do publish a data privacy guideline, but that is usually just a template saying that they will do everything to protect your data. Whether they fail or they succeed, it doesn't really have it has an impact on you, but it doesn't really have an impact on the company. It damages their reputation probably, but up till now they weren't fined. Actually, they weren't even required to report a breach. So a lot of times a breach happened and the users were never notified.
And actually, it's not just that you have to trust the company. You also have to trust a website which might not be what it looks like, and that's also another interesting topic, I think.
Exactly.
So phishing.
So phishing is basically, it comes from the word fishing, as in going to the lake and then casting in your bait and then waiting for the fish on the hook. So basically, it's the same thing is happening in the digital age. You have some kind of bait. Let's say it's a fake email asking you to reset your password, reset your banking password, reset your PayPal password. And once you click a link in that email, it redirects you to a site which is controlled by the attacker, and whatever you input to that site is actually saved for further use for the attacker. We spent an enormous time trying to teach users how to recognize a phishing website. And one of the things that we told them was that they should look for the green secure padlock on the upper left corner. The thing is that the green padlock does not mean that you can trust the website. It means that your communication to the website is encrypted, so nobody in the middle can see the data that you are sending to the website and you are receiving from it. But it doesn't say anything about the other party at the end of the website. So it doesn't say anything about the website itself, whether it is trustworthy or not, whether it is a real thing or not. It doesn't really matter with the green padlock. So I can get a green padlock on a phishing domain in 5 minutes.
So it's more important to check the actual address, right?
Yep. You should check the address manually.
Yeah. Okay, but phishing is not just about phishing websites. We can also talk about social engineering here.
People have a lot of information, and the easiest way to get information out of people is to just ask them. But if you just bluntly ask someone their credit card number, they probably won't tell you. But the thing is that they probably have a password reminder set on their banking account. And let's say that they have to answer a security question. The security questions are usually pretty general questions, so they don't really raise awareness. So let's say it's about your favorite childhood toy, it's about your school that you went to, it's about your first girlfriend's name or your mother's maiden name. It can be a lot of other things, but the main thing about them is that they do not raise awareness. So when you hear a question about your favorite soccer team, you will not think about it as an attack, even though it might be your secret question for the password reset process.
Basically, from what we have been talking about, it looks like that eventually data will breach. So that's kind of, you can be careful,
probably.
But eventually there might be some data breach, even if you are, as a user, trying to do everything.
Yep. Most likely your data is already out there. You can go to haveibeenpalm.com. It's a site run by Troy Hunt, and you can search for your email address if it appeared in a data breach before. And chances are pretty good that it is in a data breach already.
Yeah, actually, when you told me about that for the first time, I checked my email address, and it turns out that my email was in actually 7 different breaches.
7 different breaches.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I'm really careful because I'm a developer. I know what to look for, and still I ended up with 7 different breaches. The good news is that the data I had there wasn't that sensitive. But part of that is because I was really careful about one specific kind of data.
Yep, and that is probably passwords.
Exactly.
Alright, yep, so usually you identify yourself to a website with a password. The passwords are really good because they are portable. They are usually easy to remember if you master it. And users are tempted to use the same password on a lot of sites. Using the same password might seem like a good practice or like a smart trade-off to make, but the thing is that companies or websites will probably lose your password. If you're lucky, and if the company follows security guidelines, the password that they lost won't be in a clear text format. So the attacker has to do additional work to actually recover your plain text password and to be able to use it. But depending on the strength of your password, it may take a few hours or even a few years. And the thing is, if you do one practice as a user, it is probably to use a different password on every single website that you go to.
Yeah, because that way, when there is a breach, you just have to change your password in one place and not everywhere else. And probably you should use very unique passwords, which are really hard to remember. So how do you deal with that?
That is the problem. There is a software which is have for you. It's called a password manager. So password manager works by storing all your passwords in one place and then locking them away with a single password. And that single password, it never leaves your computer. Well, hopefully it never leaves your computer. So you use that single password to unlock your password vault, and then the software will use a unique password for the site to fill it in automatically for you.
And actually they usually provide you with a tool that generates random passwords, which are really hard to crack. So
definitely. So using a password manager, it's basic security hygiene for users, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. If you want a really good user experience, you can buy a password manager for $40, $50. But if you only want the security part of it, then you can go with a free one, and it will give you the same benefits as the $50 one.
Yeah, and can you just name a few that you think are best?
I am actually using 1Password, and I love it. I've used LastPass before, or KeyPass, and I think I've used one more, but I can't recall the name of it.
Okay.
But you can search around, and there will be forums where you will get pretty good answers there.
Okay.
But LastPass is a good bet.
All right. So, summing up, what are the most important things, takeaways that our users who are listening to this video should take away?
Okay, the first thing is that if you are not using unique passwords, you probably should go and find a password manager for you and change all your passwords to be unique ones. This is basic security hygiene. It will help you protect yourself even if a breach occurs.
Okay.
And the second one is probably that you should learn something about security. You don't have to know everything about security. Of course, you're not an engineer, and you don't have to be an engineer. The only goal is for you to understand what the software is telling you. Read about a green padlock, what it means in the browser. Mozilla has a really great part where they actually take a really good initiative to teach users about security. And that's something that you should probably look at.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Morning Commute. If you liked it, please subscribe. Also, Daniel has an amazing blog on security called Security Drops. The link is in the description. Please check it out.